Some people never learn. Now I'm talking about Alex Jones, the host of InfoWars and former owner of InfoWars, because it's all getting shut and closed and sold off to help pay for the $1.5 billion, that was billion with a B, dollar defamation claim that the victims of, or the families of victims of the Sandy Hook school massacre have been awarded because of the defamation of Alex Jones, where he was going out and saying all kinds of horrific things, claiming that the parents were paid actors, the kids either never existed or were still alive, just all kinds of ridiculous stuff. And they sued and won 1.5 billion. Well, now what is he saying? He is claiming to have some proof, which he never actually produced other than holding it in his hands and screaming about it, that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have the ability and the technology to control hurricanes. And he claims this is going back, being controlled by the deep state all the way back to 2001. Well, let's think about this logically for a second. I know that's hard for some people, specifically people who listen to Alex Jones. But if anybody in the government had control of this thing, if it got developed during any administration from 2001 to now, don't you think they would use it to prevent hurricanes from making landfall? I know I've said that in a previous video, but that just makes sense to me. That you'd use it to prevent the hurricane from making landfall, send it out to sea where it doesn't do any harm, and then you go, oh, look at how great we are. Look what we did for you, and brag about it and prevent having to spend all the money on the recovery effort and the potential loss of life and all of that. You would prevent it all and make sure the hurricane never hit. But no, not according to Alex Jones. No, they're gonna create these super hurricanes and slam them into the coast and make people suffer. That makes no sense. We've got a problem in this country with people believing things like what he says. He comes out and just spews this stuff, and just makes it up, claiming to have proof, never produces any proof, and goes on and just says it's happening, and some people believe it. And that's the problem. People believe him. They give him some credibility because he had a podcast and he had the InfoWars and all of this, and then they believe him. We need to silence some voices like this, and I'm all for free press, but if you're not adding something to the conversation, if you're not reporting on something that's actually factual, but rather living in this made up fantasy land where people can control hurricanes and, where school shootings weren't real, you're not adding to anything and you're not actually reporting on any sort of news. You're just spouting conspiracies and making up stuff. That's not what we need in this country. And I think most reasonable people realize that he's just ridiculous. But the fact is, there are people who believe him, and that in itself is dangerous. But you would think he would have already learned his lesson being awarded or ordered to pay $1.5 billion and having his company taken from him and shut down and sold off for parts. But apparently he doesn't learn, which isn't surprising considering who he is and how he talks. And, there's no evidence that any of this is happening other than whatever delusion he is living under.